When I'm present at round tables, I usually expect a more vivid discussion and some polemics. Since we are a bit lacking of this, I will try to open on. Yesterday, we have been discussing about some important factors that actually govern the idea of partnership between East and West, and if you want, between Far Eastern countries, presumably China in the first place, and some already well-developed countries from that we call Europe and maybe America. We had an example of automotive industry which was interested in two things: in cheap resources, or part of the resources that it can gain if invest somewhere there, whereas also and typically is interested for a market, because it appears that that huge market is growing and that a lot of cars could be sold there. So that is something that strengthened the idea of cooperation. On the other hand, we have heard yesterday some, I would say, a little bit not far from bitter complaints or suggestions from various sides that economic advancement and economic progress in, say, China is outstanding, but nevertheless, maybe social structure is not yet well developed. But what was the criterion? The criterion is a social structure that was developed in industrialized countries, built on various historical and a totally different historical background than China would have to make. So in thinking in that way, I was very much impressed by this last approach on law, which explained us that economic progress by itself changes something in social structures. From economic point of view, every good liberal ideologist, which is very popular position today, which we are not very fond of, many of us, but nevertheless it is a dominant position, would tell you that only rich people, wealthy people, are really free, and that they are really independent, and then they could enjoy full freedom. So if the idea of economic progress is to make people wealthy, I wouldn't care then what would be the social context, because the liberals teach us that once, when men get more wealthy, they will change, they will actually act as free persons, and then they will develop the society that they want. So if Western side sometimes misunderstands the actual position of China's political system, I don't see that it would be very clever to force Chinese to change it at once, because the result would be destroyed institutions. And we have been discussing 3 days ago how institutions, whatever they are important to back economic progress. And we have been discussing 2 days ago how destroyed institutions, say in Balkans for instance, have added to a tremendous plunge in in economic performance, except with one exception for Slovenia that actually saved and slowly, gradually transformed their institutions. So my idea is that if if Western people, okay, I agree with Giorgio Dominese that maybe Europe is and both East and West, but that is rather how to say, a figure, a literary figure than maybe the real situation. If they insist too much and condition a kind of cooperation with social change, that won't go. That would be that bad future that was forecasted as a possibility, unwilling possibility by our historian colleague. So that won't be the right way. And moreover, you know, if you want to keep some examples from the history, I should remind you that at approximately the same level of development where China is today, in an alleged democracy like America, we had slavery and civil war at that level of development. So forcing things is not a clever politics in my view. Just the contrary, the economic progress is the main force that will probably bring changes over time and gradually. And that is what we could all expect, although the final result could be somewhat different of what we do expect from another historical background. So that is not that liberals teaches us only in the economics, but you can employ a totally different approach, a leftist approach, where again you will find the idea that economics and economic relations would finally change something in the society as a whole. So from both sides of a possible scale of thinking, economic thinking, you will get maybe the same idea. And that is why I put this provocative idea here, since I was really a little bit astonished of the force of these kind of complaints and advices that were put maybe from time to time within our discussions that we had yesterday and the day before yesterday concerning civil development, social development in new countries, in new economic powers actually that are emerging now. Thank you.